So it's been a little over a week since I posted my film, A Place to Think, but I wanted to take some time to sit down, talk about this film, break it down a little bit, because this is one that I'm actually really proud of and one that I had a lot of fun making. So to dive right into it, this film, once again, did not start with an idea. Well, it did, but it didn't start with the idea that it ended up being. To be completely honest with you guys, this film started with me just wanting to go out and shoot something inspired by this shot from Skyfall. I've been on a big James Bond kick the last couple months. I'm even building a 1/8 scale model of the James Bond Aston Martin DB5, which is going to take me months to do, but that's a whole nother story. Maybe I'll make another video about that. Anyway, it started off as just me wanting to shoot something inspired by that shot. I know that shot has been around for a while. I've seen it a bunch of times, but for some reason, this last time watching that film again and seeing that shot, I just was inspired by it. So that was the plan. I knew where I wanted to go. I put on a nice button-up shirt, nice pair of loafs on, and I just drove up to that spot, which is one of my favorite spots in my area, and I just thought it would work well for, the vibe that I was going for, which it did, in my opinion. And I positioned the car where I wanted it to be, because the first shot that's in the film, I kind of already had planned out in my head. That was kind of my starting point. I wanted me in the center, standing in the road with the car off to the side. So I set it up the way that I thought it would look good, and I think it came out about as good as I wanted it to be. And then once I went around the back of the camera and watched that shot, I just got more excited and more inspired. And I was like, all right, where else can I put the camera? What else can I do here? So I put it up on the hill, far away from me. I put it up close for a nice close-up shot on the left side. And, the shot behind the car of me driving away. All of that stuff was kind of how I wanted it to be. I didn't not use any footage. I didn't shoot anything that I didn't use. I knew what I wanted, and I got it. And I just knew from the beginning it was going to be a short little piece. It wasn't going to be anything long or crazy, but it was just something that was inspired by something else. It didn't really have like a meaning or a story at the beginning. So I came home and I put it all on my computer and I put it together in a nice little film, and it had sound and it had birds chirping and gooses goosing in the background. It had everything that you would expect in a nice little short film that doesn't have any dialogue or anything like that. But then I started to think. The more that I looked at it, the more that I watched it back, I was like, what can I add to this? I feel like something needs to be added to this to make it pop a little bit more. And then I started to realize that location that I chose to shoot this film at, that's a spot that I go to all the time, very regularly in my life. Sometimes I just drive up there after work for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and just stand there, think, relax for a second. And the reason that I love that spot so much is because it's just far enough away from downtown. It's just far enough away from the busyness, from the traffic, from the noise. And when you're up there and you're by yourself, it almost feels like it's completely silent. It's so still. It's so relaxing. It's so quiet. And that's obviously, where the ideas and the wheels started turning in my head. So I said, okay, now I have an idea. Now I have a story. But how can I convey to the audience that that's how that place makes me feel, that silence? Well, what's the best way to, what's better to show silence than actual silence? So I just cut all the audio out of the entire project. All that sound effects work that I did, just gone. Just cut it all out. And then I got excited, because even though I was just watching silent clips, I knew that I had a story, and I knew that I had something that was, feeling really good to me, and something that I was really happy with in that moment. So I wanted to add some more stuff to, elevate that feeling a little bit more of the silence. And that's kind of where you get the beginning of the film, the title, where the title is, that black screen with the title and all those sounds that are going on. So I just went on and I found a bunch of sound effects of traffic and sirens and crowds of people and kids playing and, sounds of life. And I found as many as I could, and I just stacked them on top of each other in the timeline, and I just raised the volume from the beginning, just raised it until I couldn't raise it anymore. A lot of people might have watched this film and heard that at the beginning when all those sounds get super loud, and you might have thought, whoa, man, that was loud. That was peaked. It was clipping for sure. But that's what I wanted. I wanted that feeling. Because even when I watched the film and even when I was editing the film, when it gets to that point where all of those sound effects are at full volume, I'm uncomfortable. Like, I want it gone. So I wanted the audience to feel that. I wanted, at that point when it gets to that full volume, I wanted you to feel like you needed to shut it off because you just couldn't handle that sound anymore. Because I wanted, when that sound stopped and when you got to that silence and when that first shot opens up, I wanted it to feel like a moment of relief. Like, thank God that sound is over. And that's kind of what that location is for me in my real life. And that's what the film's about.